And now the world is different. It's hybrid. It's either online or print. And from so the Southshore Innovation, what services we offer is we do publishing for authors who are who are not very specific with any discipline, because today publishing is done discipline wise, like you're a fiction writer or you're a science writer or you're a humanities subject specialist. So we give space to any publisher, any freelancer who would want to publish. And I've been watching this over the last 15 years, that is the gap which many people are declined or rejected. Why should somebody be rejected when they've made in their the regular flow of life? So I wanted to push that flow, come out of the flow, and then do something. Probably the experience, the desire, the spark helped me to do that. And generally,
I have to pass you again, Kumaresan, because you gave a brilliant quote, right? You have to come out of the flow, because the advice that are the most often repeated quote that is happening is go with the flow. But you said you came out of the flow. Dear viewers, welcome to Eliminating Conversations. This channel is about meeting people across different spectrum of professions across the world for their unique contributions and insights. Right? What I believe this is going to give all of us is new perspectives, new knowledge, and hopefully that will catalyze us into new tracks. So who can watch this? People who are wanting to break the status quo in their lives, their thoughts, want to generate new ideas, are looking forward for better work-life balance, and generally have different ways of doing things in all spectrum of life. For all these people, Eliminating Conversations, I believe, is going to give a lot of interesting conversations from which they can draw insights. So with this introduction, so whom are we going to meet today is an architect. Okay, an architect of what? Software, building some houses or palaces? No, an architect of oneself. That's what I believe about this personality. This person has shaped his life and shaping many other people's lives as well excellently, growing his life brick by brick, and now constructed a well-developed palace, should I say, and showing paths for many. He is Mr. Kumareson. And before I give further qualifiers as to why I said all this, first let us invite him. Hello, Mr. Kumareson.
hello Prem, thanks for inviting me and also having me in this Illuminating Conversations channel, and also introducing me as an architect for oneself. So let us see during the discussion how I'm able to substantiate it with some of my life's experiences as to how I've traveled through from where I was to what I am today.
Absolutely. You said it. Yeah, I'm sure it will get substantiated, Mr. Kumareson. So, you said from where you were to where you are now. So, let me start where Mr. Kumareson started. So, Mr. Kumareson had finished his MBA and started as a direct salesperson. See, the time he has finished is before this millennium started, and that is when today's proliferation of opportunities didn't exist. Right? It was a time when you have to be very picky about your career and very seriously plan it. And at that point of time, direct sales was not a very understood or well received career in our country. He started at that point of time in direct sales, but now I'll hand it over to him to talk about it. So, Mr. Kumaresan, so I just gave you some pointers. You can talk about direct sales, or you can go behind and start how you started your career life. If you have to take some steps back, please feel free to do.
Yes, Prem. Thanks. And yeah, it is a good point to start with, and maybe the viewers, it'll be a good experience or a learning for the viewers also. So, what and how my life experience could actually help people. So, I started off as a direct sales in the year 1997 after finishing my post graduation, that is MBA. and ended up with an organization in publishing called as Oxford University Press, where I used to visit the institutions, the professors, and the readers, and the libraries directly. And initially, as you said, in today's world, there are a lot of opportunities today's world versus then. So that was one opportunity, and I joined with not much of an idea about how a sales career would really be. I mean, when I say the struggles and the challenges, and of course, getting the results. I was the junior most in the large organization and a large team. And the first year, to be honest, was very difficult and very challenging because, you didn't know what exactly to do and how you get to the point where you are supposed to go. And a lot of terms like, the results, the goals, the revenues, etc., were all new. But yeah, I enjoyed it because, I I must say that I have been always a person who has been reading a lot since then until now. So since it was Oxford University Press, the love for books kept me going, and I read what content. It was a social science publisher, and it is world's largest university presses even today. And I continued meeting the customers directly and started pitching what is the product lines, and made some difference in the first 6 months. Then I started liking it more and more and more, and then that's how used it the first year, then passed on to the next year, and in 3 years I was kind of recognized. When I mean recognized, you are kind of honored in the organization, saying that he's a young uh, salesperson who's actually contributed XYZ to the organization, so on and so forth. So that kept me motivated, and then I started actually getting more involved. So that first 2 3 years was a struggle, challenge, difficulty, which I could manage to get through. And so if I look back, I think that is one hard or a grilling experience which I went through.
I'd like to take a little reflection of the conversation here to assimilate all the messages that you gave. So you were saying, right, so everything was new. That you joined a direct sales job, right, which is in itself tough. Not everybody can make the cut. And so you were like you introduced to new terms, goals, revenues, and meeting people. But you said you made a difference in 6 months. That is awesome,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's yeah. You're absorbing all the newness and still making a difference. So that shows some spirit. So something which all of us could learn from. So I will come to it in a minute. But so now where you are. So to differentiate it, the path that has been traveled by Mr. Kumaresan. So I'll have to tell the viewers now. So Mr. Kumaresan is now based in Delhi. He's the co-founder and a director of two companies, Southshore Innovations and Edifice Travels, and two successful companies being run from Delhi. So that is where he has traveled. So we will talk about Southshore Innovations and Edifice Travels in a little while, but they are quite big brands now. Okay, this is the point I was making. So you started off in some place, you have reached a different place now. So what was the journey? What is making the difference? What were the contributors to this journey? This is what we are going to discuss. So, Mr. Kumaresan, before you go on to anything else, how could you make a difference so fast when you were totally new to the corporate world of work, right? You were a person who was steady. You stepped out into the wide open world of being responsible for yourself, delivering to somebody else, and it was all new. So, how did you make the difference very quickly?
See, as you said, from Chennai now to Delhi and two companies, the journey has been uh, far and challenging. But the aspiration and the spark, as you said, or the spirit keeps you going. Because while I was in Chennai, and Oxford University Press was a great organization which anybody would look forward to work for. And I continued to work with them for about 9.5 years. So when I started in 1997, and I was there until almost 2006. And the aspiration of, as it is a publishing company, it's the world's largest publishing house in humanities and social science space. The reason to grow was, Chennai, and from Chennai, I became responsible for South in that 5 to 7 years. And I was the head of sales for South of India, which consisted of 4 states. Then probably it became five now. And that didn't stop me because, I was aspiring to take something challenging and on a national level. That is when I got an opportunity to move to Delhi in 2006 end. And since then till now, as we speak, I'm in Delhi. And I've traveled through a couple of other organizations. So I got a position as a national business head with a US based organization called LexisNexis, where I was responsible for the national sales. And that is where I got introduced to the online space of business also, because now the world and the content is consumed more in online than in print. Because when I started my hardcore sales, if I may call it so, was purely selling books in the print versions, and slowly got transformed and got learned or dealt with the online space. And now the world is different. It's hybrid. It's either online or print. And from LexisNexis, I served for a few years, about 4 to 5 years, and then I got an opportunity with Springer Nature. Springer Nature is another German publishing house, which is a science publisher, and LexisNexis is a law publisher. So Delhi and managing India for their goals and revenues was again a challenging stuff. The first challenge as a young boy, if I may say so, in 23 years, and now after 10 years later, is 33 years, I moved to Delhi when I was 33 years. And now the journey continues, and I was with Springer Nature till about 2018, I guess. Yeah. And now I manage two companies. One is Southshore, and the other is a travel agency called as Edifice Travels.
So, Mr. Kumareson, let's talk about the two companies that we just mentioned, Southshore Innovations and Edifice Travels. So, what is the solution that these are offering? Whom are they relevant to? Can you please just elaborate?
So I'll talk about Southshore Innovations first. So that's a publishing company which me and my partner started after my career kind of ended with Springer Nature. And I would like to touch upon a point that, that was kind of a globalization and a merger of two large companies and kind of a restructuring where, the professional job came to an end. And that is when I decided to start a company on my own along with my partner. And parallelly, I started another company, which is Edifice Travel, which I'll come to about it later. So the Southshore Innovation, what services we offer is we do publishing for authors who are who are not very specific with any discipline, because today publishing is done discipline wise, like you're a fiction writer or you're a science writer or you're a humanities subject specialist. So we give space to any publisher, any freelancer who would want to publish. And we are also trying to innovate there by offering services to authors who would want to publish either by themselves, which are author published books. So we help them to get their books out. Or the other thing is a traditional publishing where we take care of all the activities and then publish a book. And besides this, we do represent one or two global brands in India. So these are the three different things which actually we do in Southshore Innovations.
Okay,
And it
really
is
excellent.
growing. So far, we would have done about 20 books, if not more. And when I say we do books, we get the manuscripts. It is typeset, edited, copyright, indexed, and finally produced as a book, both in print version and in the online version. So to go back, when I started, I didn't think I could also do this as a entrepreneur one day. So it has taken maybe 2 decades, but that's the change in the career and in the profession, and it's a lovely experience, which I would say.
Yeah, yeah. So before we go towards the journey, right? The current solutions that you're offering itself is brilliant. In one sense, see, I call you as an architect of your own life. Uh, but offering a space for, see, a book that is not fitting into any one category. See, that can happen often to many people who intend to write books. It could be an exotic idea. It could be a one time one. and finding a slot with very standardized publishers is going to be absolutely difficult for such ideas and for such authors,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
So in a way you are helping other architects to sculpt their own dreams, to sculpt themselves. That's brilliant, Kumaresan. I really applaud the effort that you're doing,
Thank
right?
you. Thank you.
Not becoming one of the other mainstream publishers. There are plenty. You have not become one of them.
Yeah, I saw that as a gap, and I saw that as a need and a service to be given to, because in the large corporations which I worked, everybody has their own criterias to publish, and every author is not bad either. That's what I would say. So if an author is if an author is so passionate, he would have spent months and years to come to that stage of a manuscript. The role of a publisher is actually to transform that manuscript to a readable version. So that is what I am trying to fill the gap as. And I think people are now, the traction is increasing as we move forward. So I'd like to do this and continue to do this more and more. And when you do a service, it is globalized. We get authors not only from India, we do get authors from abroad also, like the Europe, US, and UK. Because a book is a book and author is an author, and he just needs it to be transformed to a readable version. That is as simple as what we do.
Okay. So did you say people are reaching out to you even from UK?
Yeah, yeah. People are reaching out to us from the UK, one or two from the US. So in a way, our brand is getting globalized, and we do evaluate the manuscripts. And as long as it's not controversial, we do support any form of authorship.
Yeah. See, the reason why I made a little pass and asked about UK, and you mentioned US as well, is that, see, generally people tend to think, uh, oh, only in our country we are reaching out for help. No, it is not that way. People who need help are there everywhere, right?
Exactly,
And
exactly.
yeah, and helping out, helping them is absolutely important. And you have found an absolute, should I say, a very noble space. The sense that, yeah, it's a brilliant business,
You
but
can
it's
call
also a
it a
great
noble
business to
space.
be in, that gives, fills your conscience with pride, should I say, right? It's great, Kumaresan, right?
See,
So
when you may call it noble, I do agree, but it's one off, right? It's not a main revenue stream also, but that's more of the your own conscience, which is, and it is more of your own satisfaction that you want to do this. And I've been watching this over the last 15 years, that is the gap which many people are declined or rejected. Why should somebody be rejected when they've made in their effort?
uh, I think this conversation is going to help people in different ways. So one is like the way you architected yourself, which we'll keep talking about, but this also has taken an unexpected turn, right, in terms of the kind of business, one line of business that you are in, that can help other people architect themselves. So can you talk about some of the books? I'll be listing them in the description as well, that you have published, which are unusual, those who reached for help. So can you just name some of these books, Kumar?
Some of the books are, one is a book on life as a medicine.
Okay.
So that's from a doctor. So he talks about, how currently the lifestyle has changed, and how it could actually go back to basics. So today the pharma industry and the diet, lifestyle and the food and other things have become so complex, I would say. So he's trying to put it to the basics and simplicity of how one should devote importance to the basics of the food, the nutrition, the etc. etc. So it's by a doctor. Generally, doctors write book on what their specialty is. Like if he is a cardiologist, in this case he is an ENT specialist. So he has written a book which is more generic. So now that is read by the medical students as well and the layman as well. So that is one example. The other book is a book on a poem by a person from Singapore. She writes poems. Basically, she's fond of writing poems, and she reached out to XYZ publishers, and everybody had their own reasons to publish it. Generally, in publishing, most of the acceptance or rejection happen based on, if a publisher publishes a book, will it give the publisher an X amount of revenue? It's a very basic criteria. So we have crossed that barrier and then tried to accommodate. So if it doesn't meet the revenue stream, we also discuss with the author as to, there is a cost element involved. And if you are willing to support it equally or partially, then it helps both sides to bring the project out. So we are very open and transparent about it. So other book is on a poem. And the third book is on Ikigai, the Japanese science of life. So these are all one or two examples. Then the fourth book is on layman's law, like understanding law from a layman's point of view. So these are some of the top of the mind which maybe I
Okay.
could list out and give you the title and the name. So it is not confined to any one particular genre or one particular discipline and so on and so forth. So we encourage more people to come forward. And I have listed a medicine, a poem, ikigai, and so on and so forth. So any book is a book. That's how we look at it.
No, no, no. So that is the real way of unlocking the potential of many people, Kumaresan. I applaud on behalf of people whom you have already supported, and maybe this podcast is going to help many other people, right? Possibly to reach
I
out
hope
to
so.
your
Yeah.
team, right, and get themselves the recognition they deserve, or uh, their ideas that deserve it, right?
There is
Brilliant.
also one other thing I've noticed, that every person would like to publish at least one book in his lifetime. That's what I've heard from some of the authors. We have been
Oh, okay.
trying hard to either if he or she is a big shot, it's a biography. If he is a normal human being, I mean, when I say normal human being, that's not to be the quote, but a person would like to publish a book of what he thinks about his own experience or subject or life. So we give space to everybody.
Okay. Sorry. So this may be known to many people, but this is the first time I'm hearing the thought, and I'm quite excited. So every person has a book. That's what you're saying.
Every person would love to publish a book. So either the
Brilliant.
thought is just in the mind which they didn't speak because they didn't know. Like I said, I started with Oxford and ended with Springer. The large corporations have their own criterias, but publishing and reading a book is everybody's interest and passion. And reading is common to everybody, but publishing or becoming an author is not common. So we are trying to make that common. I don't know how much I'll be able to accomplish in my lifetime, but that is something I would pursue and keep doing.
Okay. Okay. To the listeners, right? So I think this is a big idea. So if all of us have a thought, a book in our head, it is there. It is not just with you or me. It is there. It is a common thing for all of us, right? And maybe it's time to give shape to our thoughts, right? And there are catalysts like Mr. Kumaresan and his team, right, who are there to help fuel the dream. This is really great,
Yeah.
right? So Southshore Innovations, does it do, besides this, right? Does it do anything else? What are the other streams of businesses that you look at, Mr. Kumaresan?
As I told you, we represent a few international publishers it's like an agency where we help them sell their content online and print in India. So there are few, like, there is one unique called as Journal of Visualized Experiments. That's one of the kind. It's a US based publisher where the journals are already in the video forms. So that's a first of its kind. So we represent that in India to sell it to the institutions, and mostly it fits into the life science discipline of the research. So it
Okay.
could be bioscience, biotechnology, and etc. etc. So we represent them. So whatever we help them sell their content in India.
Okay.
So that's what it is. So it's a small organization as of now. I would call South Shore is just a couple of years, say 4 years old, and entering the fifth year this year.
Okay.
So that is more about my journey on publishing. And just one other point as to why I started publishing and also another company, I think that would be of interest to the viewers in case that adds value.
Please.
So, as I would call it an accident, but also not a pure accident because the desire to do something from on my own has always been there. The only thing is the spark and the desire was used and utilized in the corporations wherever I worked. I started off with a direct sales and sales executive and ended up as a director in Springer Nature. And at some point in time, it also came to an end. You may say that all good things come to an end or otherwise, whatever way we take it. But it did come to an end because of some globalization and restructuring of all that. And today we hear more of it. At that point, one also gets into kind of what to do, but you have to challenge yourself and uh, come out of the zone on which you're pushed to. So that was the real time when Southshore was also born. Or no, rather, at that time was Edifice Travels born, and then followed by Southshore a year later.
Yeah.
So Edifice
Just
Travels.
one or two spin notes there, Kumaresan. First is, by the time, what was your age? In what phase of your life did
Oh,
these
that's an interesting
shootouts
question.
happen?
I think I should have been 45-year-old then. I was about 45 years old. And that is a time when most of them are in the routine of life and the regular flow of life. So I wanted to push that flow, come out of the flow and then do something. Probably the experience, the desire, the spark helped me to do that. And
I
generally,
have to pass you again, Kumaresan, because you gave a brilliant quote, right? You have to come out of the flow because the advice that are the most often repeated quote that is happening is go with the flow. But you said you came out of the flow. Yes, how do you come out of the flow? And at 45, you make us envy, Mr. Kumaresan, and I'm pretty sure many other viewers also would feel that way because that is the age when you want to like settle in to go have more certainty in life. Maybe the appetite for adventure is waning down, and at that point of time to break out of the flow, trying something new. How did you get the spirit? How did you manage it financially? Can you just cover all of these aspects?
see, generally when somebody gets into this point, it's like a dead end and everybody thinks what next. And one of the easiest option was to go for a job. Get one or two offers, but after